Rudy once said in passing, when the world is full of sadness, happiness needs to go somewhere. And in a universe of yin and yang, in a universe of yin and yang, you might as well be the recipient. Happiness is free floating and it is profoundly available. Prefer to be one of those people sending the unhappiness into the world? It's fine. There will be other people to take the contentment and the joy of being alive, even though you don't necessarily choose to or imagine yourself as being one of those people. What I would like to do is shift your imagination a little bit. The world is what it is and it has always been. It is a place of joy and suffering, yin and yang, good and evil. They dance, sometimes dramatically, sometimes more hiddenly. But almost always everything comes to the surface and we get to witness the world and we get to witness life in more vivid terms, if you will. And we are certainly in that moment right now. It's almost as if reality as we have known it is evaporating, disappearing, transforming into some other form. And that's very destabilizing for people. There's no guidance in that. You can think of it as madness. You can think of it as insanity. And in a way, it is. Again, not a new thing in the world. If you are any of you historians and go back to the history of mankind since it's been documented, it's a pretty strange journey. And there are forces in life that try to fight for equality and magnanimity and joy and hope and possibility in the world. And often they are squelched by other major forces. But the real drama and the real teaching in human life is the journey you have in your own soul, in your own psyche, and how you buy into the story of life really determines your sense of journey, how much you can feel your purpose, if you will, in waking up in the morning. And I will say this experience of happiness that Rudy talks about, for me, dawns with me every morning. It is shocking. It is surprising. It may have to do with old age. It may have to do with nostalgia. It may have to do with I love looking out the window. But I sit up in the morning and I feel so lucky just to be here. And you can hold on to that state. You can settle into it. You can let it proliferate throughout the entirety of your day if you're lucky. Or in some cases, you may decide to read the newspaper or turn on the news or get a phone call from somebody who's complaining about the world. And that can immediately go into your old programming and set you off in some dynamic way that makes you feel alienated and unhappy again. And that the happiness that you had for the first 20 minutes of the day just goes away. You have the skill set and the power to wake up again, to wake up for a second time in the day. You can just take a breath and feel yourself going back into the, if you will, sweet slumber of not connecting to all the noise of the world, and feel yourself in that still pointed space that can be described as happy, content, simple. The thing about it is There are days you want to do that just because it's a good idea and you think, well, rather be happy than sad. And then there are days, and we are living in them, that are so oppressive and so difficult and so challenged moment by moment that the practice becomes what we called work. Work means that you can't sit back and just wish for the flow of life to bring you back into a simple place. You have to do it. You have to find the mechanism in yourself to reach that simple place, to go back into the condition, if you will, of slumber and reawakening over and over and over. It may even involve taking a nap or two. But somehow or another, if you can just sit, go for a walk, find a still place, you will find that there is this aggregate of unexpected and unalloyed happiness that just floats in. Now, your mind can attack it, going, why should I be happy? Everything's so terrible. The world's so terrible. And you can do that if you want. And then, welcome to the club of people in the world who destroy happiness. But where does that happiness go? To the next lucky person who says, yeah, I'll take it. I'll have it. And it settles in. It just settles in. And if you have it, and here's the most important part of getting it, is you can, and this is a weekly talk, you can share it. So you can go up to those unhappy people who do not know that happiness is possible in this moment in time, that there is comfort or contentment possible. You can go to that space and you can help them through a word, a gesture, a moment of touch, anything at all that lets them go, oh, oh, thank you. It's simple. It's just simple. You're saving people, if you will, by bringing them empathy and contentment for 1 second. And your giving of that is because you have it to give. But if you don't have it to give, then your job is find it. How can I dig deep in myself and get to that place of happiness? Well, I said take a breath. Rudy, my teacher, would say, take a deep breath into your heart chakra and ask inside for help to surrender. And if you get that to happen and you start to feel, and it's pretty amazing because there's no reason for it to happen, but it does, you can take that deeper into your navel chakra, deep down, and take a deep breath in there and ask inside for help to surrender. And you will feel this flood of field of well-being and capacity to be alive and to be happy in a moment where the world is giving you every reason not to be. But you have to have intellect or mind or will or desire or anything that you can look to say, there's something I can do in this moment to bring me into a space of, and happiness may be too big a word, but let's call it contentment, quietude. Blanche and I, interestingly enough, live about a mile away from a road called Contentment Lane. And it is our practice when possible, even when it's freezing out and cold, to walk there. There's nothing waiting for you other than a sign saying Contentment Lane, and it's up a hill and then another hill, and it's a hike for us. But the idea, even when we don't get there, the idea of setting out. Last night we set out and it was way too cold. The chill factor was so great. But the effort to go to Contentment Lane is everything. And I have to say, when we got home, we were full of contentment. The minute we walked into the warm house, the minute we sat down, the minute we prepared dinner, everything just was content. The simple things of life, the simple things, getting a glass of water, recognizing that just because it's cold out or the weather isn't what you like, you're not obstructed by that. You can live, you can go dynamically into the world. And you may not like the headlines that are happening around you. I for one, do not. but you do not have to engage them. You can go, okay, I get it, I get it. But as soon as they start to turn the system inside you into something you don't like, let it go. Let it go. Allow happiness to fester inside you because it's looking for a place to live. And if you provide it with that place to live, one, you benefit dramatically, but so does everybody around you. Truly, truly. There's so many lessons to be learned from happiness and lessons to be learned from sadness. So I'm not trying to say being sad and grief-stricken and miserable and all of that doesn't have value in the world. And I will tell you from the deepest spiritual part of my sensibility that they all have things to teach. You can dig deep into your misery and try not to be caught in it, but just witness it. You can dig deep into your sadness and your fear for the world. It's valuable, it's intriguing, but don't get caught in it. Don't get lost in it. Be an observer, be a witness, because it gets up to a place where you know more about human life than you may ever have wanted to know. We get programmed into a very narrow band of living. Mostly it's about pleasure and comfort. That's mostly what we want. Some love, some ease of being. But life does not present that to us regularly. Life presents a much bigger drama to us at times, and we are now in probably for the generations that we represent, the most demanding time with the promise of it getting even more demanding. And I think that's the hard part, the fact that we're witnessing something that's just starting and is going to require more than anyone wants to give because it takes us out of our contentment and our pleasure zone and our ease. It means we have to show up. We have to work in some way. We don't even know what show up means at this point. Do we have to gather? Do we have to be part of a protest? Do we have to go into the world and yell and scream? Trust me, I don't know if that's the calling yet. But the calling that you can respond to right now, which is really important, is be a happy soul when the world needs happiness. And that's something you can do. And it doesn't have to be for the millions of people. It can be for the one person you live with. Or it can be for the person, as I've often talked about, in line at the supermarket, the source of my social life. You know, I go to the supermarket, and if I don't get five people who seem happy as a result of having just connected, it's a kind of a wasted trip. You can make people happy, the checkout counter, the person behind you. It's so much joy, that simplicity that can be brought into the world, and somebody has to choose to do that. And you may have all the reason not to, but I'm telling you, you also have a reason to do. And if ever the world needed it, it's now. And is it going to get easier? No. The muscle system, the working of this system, the part of you that's going to bring contentment and happiness and joy to the world has to become muscularly active. You have to do it. And spiritual life, the journey into the simple, the quietude, the depth of being is the source of so much of that joy and contentment. It is the thing that rises up in human beings because they wake up in the morning and the sun is shining and there's a day ahead of them, even if it's a dark morning. You know, you wake up and there's the unknowable, the new, the possible, the whatever may happen experience of being alive. Don't program that with your brain. Don't turn on the television or the radio. Just settle into that. Be one with that and see how long you can sustain it because it's sustainable. And again, happiness needs a location. If it's not happening in balance and everywhere else, the imbalance of it will benefit your being, which will then affect the world's being. So take it on yourself. Take it on yourself to become the source of joy for other beings, the source of humanity for other beings. You know, we all want this spiritual transcendence. We all want to arrive at enlightenment and awakening and something that in many people's programming means you're free of suffering. Good luck. Good luck. There is no freedom from suffering, but there is a still pointedness in the middle of it that is shockingly accepting of it, that recognizes it as one with the human experience and the human condition. Suffering is part of what we have. And when we suffer, we understand that others suffer and we can share with them in the depth of our being because we know this is a universal journey. It's universal. And when you can bring softness and sweetness and contentment and understanding to that suffering in yourself and then into other people, you are what you were born for. This is what you do on this level of existence. This is why we're here. We are here to bring the light in the middle of darkness. And at this moment of time, you are really, really needed. So, in Rudy's words, do the work. Do the work. Open yourself up. Show up. Don't turn the other way. Don't give in to misery. Don't give in to, oh my God, what's going on? I don't get it. Because nobody gets it. I mean, one of the fascinating things for me about watching the commentaries on the news channels that are probably all going to be taken off the air at some point. Well, one of the most amazing things about watching them is the human nature of the commentators, some of whom are threatening to lose their jobs, or some are losing their jobs. And you watch how people who don't know show up and how they try to bring their lack of knowledge and truth to the table. It's really fascinating. I don't care what they're talking about. I'm amazed by their humanity, just amazed by the humanity that comes up in times of difficulty and struggling. We are part of that. Your humanity is wanted now. Now. Be human. Be human. And don't be upset if you wake up some mornings and you're not happy. Don't be upset if you wake up at some times and you feel, what's the purpose of it all? Part of being human is all of that. Forgive yourself. Learn to accept the totality of the human experience. And if you need to reach out for help, call me. I'll do my best to turn the switch a little bit. I will do my best to love you and tell you you're worthy of being loved. Or call each other, or call someone else you love when you're suffering and tell them you love them. That'll do amazing things for both of you. Anyway, you're getting the message. We have a job. We have to do it. We are human. Times are tough. They're going to get tougher. The work's going to get more demanding. And walking up to Contentment Lane in freezing cold weather is going to be what we have to do. Worth doing. Worth doing. Find your own contentment lane. Make that journey. Okay. Okay. Thank you. I'm not sure what more I need to say today. I guess the message has been pretty much put through. So if it works for you, good. If it doesn't work for you, find somebody who can inspire you better. Love you all. Are there any questions that I should?
I have a question. Shelley.
Okay, Shelley.
Yeah. We are profoundly happy together. We're in a community, we're happy. And we're surrounded by people who are similarly politically oriented to us and also pretty happy. We're in like this very amazing community. And if anybody talks about politics, if it comes up, I feel this intense grief, like sadness. And we sort of just do that for a few minutes and then we just stop talking about it. And as a Jewish person, I was brought up with the slogan, never again. Like, we are not supposed to sit back and let shit happen. And so I don't know, like, we're living that, what you're saying, that happy-ness. But there's a part of me that feels guilty or feels like, I don't know, there's something else. And I feel powerless. Like, I don't know what it is I would do. I just
Shelley, that I said that happiness needs somewhere to go. You got it, and you deserve it. You and Mark are wonderful examples of happiness, and you live in a community truly that is happy, and you share it. You really do, and you don't have to apologize for it. it will be challenged. It as the road goes on, and but you know what it feels like, you know what it tastes like. You can turn to each other and reinforce it and sort of expand it again. But this is a time where doing that is really at the core, at the absolute core of what it means to be human and have a spiritual, if you will, life right now. Don't be afraid of your happiness. If you wake up with happiness, see what it takes to make it happen all day long. It's kind of amazing. Sometimes there's work to do, sometimes it just happens. Go with it. Go with the flow. It's really kind of remarkable. And I would love all of you to be waking up happy right now. I think that's, if anything, if there's a message to be shared, it's sit at the edge of the bed for 10 minutes and go, why not? Just feel it. Feel like you're a 4-year old. Don't get caught up in what you have to do for the day. Give yourself a few minutes to just feel that unbelievable presence of newness that every day represents and see where it goes. But I'm glad your community is reinforcing it. I think that is a gift, and you should say thank you. George.
Just think of where Mission Ananda's sayings or teachings, which was go to the sky in your heart. And it seems to be go to your happy place.
I mean, yeah, I mean, yes, George is saying, Nityananda is saying, go to the sky in your heart. Absolutely. I mean, there is brilliance and skylight wonder in your own heart. And if you sit down, it means making an effort. I mean, I talk always about people living on the horizontal and not reaching for the higher or the depth of their being. And it's very shaky ground. Right now the ground is really trembling. But if you go into the horizontal and the vertical, you can reach to places that are really luminous. They're shiny. They are content. And you can go down into places that go, yes, this too. This has always been. This is the nature of the human ride. That's very important for people because we are not the first or the last to know the depth of what it means to be a human being on a planet that is very unpredictable and erratic and offers reasons to be sad and suffering. But it also offers reasons to be in love and joyous and content. Find your way. Anybody else?
Hey, Bruce, it's Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Hey. So I remember the time that we walked with you guys to Contentment Lane that day. And you talk about work a lot, right? Like work, work, work. You don't just be a passive passenger, you're actually working all the time. And the more you kind of awaken, the more it seems like you're doing that more often, but in a different sort of way. So I was just wondering, metaphorically, you're walking yesterday in the cold, the work to get to Contentment Lane. What's that like for you? Like you're getting to Contentment Lane, but it was work to get you there because of the cold, I'm assuming. Was it contented all the way, or was it contentment? Was the work to get there to Contentment Lane?
It was the contentment came when I got home and I walked in a warm house and the birds, and we have all these geese around our pond. We have about 20 geese all around our pond 2 days now, and they're shitting everywhere, but they're also swimming and doing amazing things, and they're truly joyous. And the walk home was just full of geese all around us, totally unafraid of us, totally enveloped by these wonderful wild animals. And the cold was like, I mean, the freezing cold wind. It was like 25, 30-mile-an-hour winds that were really shifting. So we didn't even make it to Contentment Lane, but the effort to go there was, if you will, rewarded by the effort itself. The effort is what it's all about. Do you always get what you're looking for? Sometimes. But when you make the effort to go there, it is already, the body knows, the mind knows, the psyche knows, the universe knows that you are pointed in a direction, and that direction will be fulfilled. Contentment isn't always under the sign saying Contentment Lane. It's often the journey to say, I'm going to go get contented. And it's incredible. And for me to do it with my wife is the best. That's the best. Okay, you guys bored to death? Sorry, there's only so much one can say at this moment in time, and every week will be its own little focal point. But I think the core of what is happening right now is unknown, unreality, things that are not predictable are going to be merging much more dramatically on a daily basis than we've ever faced. get together in yourself and with others. Be, be participants in this journey of holding the world together. Even if you don't know what to do, just be the best version of you can, and that will be of great joy and help to everybody. Trust me. I love you all. See you guys next week.